Hey, yeah, it's browser based. MongoDB in the background. I'm also using Redis for the sockets. So right now I'm just doing the UI for the turns. So let me. You can move pieces around, and the other guy. So this is the UI for the turns as it is right now. Trying to work on that. So if you move and then you make another move, you can't move. And then this guy's turn. So yeah, you can also have another team somewhere else, and they will also there's a special turn system that decides who gets to play. If you stick around, I'll explain it in a little bit. So yeah, this is supposed to show you if you have a turn, whose turn it is around you at any point in time. So we're going to do that right now. The server side is in Node.js. It's also JavaScript. I'm only streaming at, I think, 1200 kilobit per second. It's mostly just text, so I don't know. Can you see can you read the code? Like if I move it around, can you there's not a lot of action going on, like motion in the game or like in the code, so that's why I'm streaming at such a low bit rate. What's the best way to do this? Turns equals player turns. Got some bad, confusing naming going on here. So first, when someone tries to, when the player spins up the game, we're gonna run init turns, and we're gonna run this first, and then it's gonna take the player's object, and it's gonna initialize its turn, and then we'll store the turn somewhere in here, in hut.turns, and then we'll send that to the update function down here, and then it'll render the HUD, and then when another player makes a move, we're gonna send it. We're gonna use this function to send this player, which is the player that just made a move, and we'll update it by calling this function. Just some confusing function names here. Update HUD. I'll call this render HUD update HUD render terms, like that. So a little bit more, makes a little bit more sense. So what we're gonna do, update turns. I don't like this function name. Update player turn. Sorry guys. So okay. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna loop through hut.turns, and if the player is already in there, then we're gonna update his thing, and if not, we'll add him to the new to the end of the list. Yeah, okay. There's also the possibility that the player that just moved is us, our player. So we're gonna keep track of who we are. How did it player? We're this guy here. So you know what? Let's change this into a private thing, so we don't have to. Okay, and then we'll use player equals null, and we'll call this guy player equals player. Okay, so if the player is us, then what do we want to do? So let's say we're this guy, we're blue, and the enemy is red. So if the player is us, he's going to have a complete full turns. So if the player is us, then we can just replace this whole thing. This thing with the player's turns, so we can initialize it again. Otherwise, if the player is someone else, then we'll do okay. So if the player is someone else, we're gonna go through the loop. Turns. Right. If turns player is, actually let's print out this to make sure we're getting the right things here. Okay. So let's try and move. Oop, can't move because it's not a turn. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so the guy that just moved was this guy, user 2. So user 2 is up here, user 1 is up here. User 1 is us. So the guy that just moved is this guy, and we printed out his thing, his ID. Okay, so we're gonna make a move, and let's see if it prints us our ID BF3. Okay, that's not right. So the player that just moved was player 1, and let's go over here. So the user 2 just moved, and his ID is BF3, but it's printing out the first players, player 1's. So what's going on there? Oh, that's right. It's just printing out the list of turns for the enemy. Okay. Yeah, so that seems to be right. So now we got to compare whoops. So now we just got to compare if this player is equal to player.id. If it is equal, what do we want to do? So if it's equal, we'll just update actually, you know what? We don't have enough information here to update the turn. What we need to do is make a separate request for the turns of the current player, of our player. Then we'll just render it. Yeah, that's a better solution. Okay. So every time somebody moves, we're gonna call this, and without passing anything, we'll just call update turns, and we're gonna make a init turns, render turns. Okay, so we need an API method to so yeah, this is on the server side. So we need a way to get the player's turn. We can actually, the player's turn is actually stored in the turn tokens. The turn tokens are stored inside the player's object, so we can just make a request for the player, and that should be player.get, I think. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. I think there's a method in the play.js player init get player check belongs to player. So here we have the player. Let's bring this out to a new file so we can require it. Update. Is there a player update? now we'll just we'll just use this method. Okay, so we'll do that and then use the new player and just render the turns. So the player is here, and then we're updating the player again, and update turns. Yeah, okay. So render turns, and we'll just pass it the player turn tokens. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think that should be it. Okay, so right now this is user 2 and user oh, we can't move. It's this guy's turn. So user 1 is over here, and in this turns list is user 2, and we're gonna say, yeah. So user 2 is false and user 1 is true. Wait, what the hell? User 1 false. Who's user 1? Oh, this is user 1. But the turn seems to be flipped. User 2 false, user 1 true. User 1 just moved. Right, so user 2 has let me log in again to make sure that we have the right user 2 A, user 1 true. This is user 2, but what? Sorry, true is not this flag right here. It I don't even remember my own system. Okay, so let me explain. Are you using Linum and Emacs? You should. And Linum. Oh yeah. Cool. Linum. I don't think Linum is. Does it show me that? Linum is just a line number, right? This thing. I don't see the like any performance drop. I mean, I've been using this for a long time now. I don't remember if it has any effect on the performance. Okay, so let me explain how the turn system works. So let me make another okay, anyway, so so say we have two players, and user 1 is over here, this guy here. This is user 1, that's blue, and he's on the left. And user 2 is on the right, he's also blue, and this is user 1, he's red. So the way the turns work is there are these things called the turn tokens, and if you have two armies, just like in regular chess, right? If you have two armies, the way that they take turns is they pass this turn token between them. So let's say user 1 here and user 2, they're in combat. So we create a token for the pair of them, right? And they pass it between them. So let's say this guy moves. He spent that token. Think of it as like a coin, right? So he spent that token and he sends it over to the user 2. So now user 2 has that token, has that that coin, that currency. so he can spend it and he can make a move, right? So that's how tokens work. So he just moved, so he can't move anymore because the token is now over here. To, it belongs to user 1 now. So let's say that we have 3 players. So how do you decide who gets to play if we have 3 players? So let me go ahead and create another player. Whoops, I have to use a different browser because there's session in here. So let me create user 3 and register. So now user 3, so we're over here right now. So this is user 1, user 2, and we're over here. Okay, so user 2, when he starts up, he doesn't have any token because he's not in combat with any of these guys. But let's say he moves over, right? So he can move anywhere he wants because he's not at war with anyone yet. So as soon as he goes into the enemy territory, right? So we're gonna create. This is getting confusing. Let me go up here. This is user 2. Gotta remember all the players. So, oh, right. Okay, here we go. Okay, so user 1, user 2, and user 3. Right, so right now, you see we have 2 tokens here because user 1 is at the moment in combat with user 2 and user 3. So let's go back, forget about turn tokens for a second, right? And think about how you would decide who gets to play in a turn-based system where there's a bunch of players all around you, right? So one way you can do it is like in 3-person chess or other turn-based board games, like in a small group. If you have 3 or 4 players, then the way that you would settle turns is you would just go around the table, right? You would go user 1 is going to go, and then user 2 is going to go, and then user 3 is going to go, and then if you have another player, user 4, that guy's going to go, and then it goes back around to player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, and around it goes, right? So that's how you can do it with a small number of players. But we're making this game to allow like hundreds, maybe thousands of people to play the same game at the same time in the same world. And so how do you decide who gets to play? Right? I mean, at any moment you can have up to 4, 5, 6 players all around you, and they also have other players around them. And so if you do that, you're gonna wait forever. So now we gotta figure out a new way, and that's where the turn tokens come in, right? So think of a turn token as a coin that you can spend with each of your enemy. So player 1 right now, he's facing 2 guys right here. He's facing player 2 and player 3, so he has 2 tokens. Meanwhile, this guy, let me refresh this. Meanwhile, why isn't this guy haven't turned token yet? Oh, yeah, this is still a work in progress. So let me, there we go. Okay, so I don't see why this guy doesn't have a turn token. That's very weird. Let me check something. Player turn tokens. Yeah, he doesn't have one. Right here. Oh, I think I have to move it a couple more times. Let me try that. Oh, there we go. Okay. So now we're good. It's just some there's still some stuff I have to work through before it works. So anyway, the idea is this, right? Player 2 now has a token from player 1, right? So it appears in his list over here. Sorry, player 3 has a token from player 1, and player 2 also has a token from player 1 because he's attacking. He's at war with player 1 right here. Player 1, player 2. So, but player 1 has 2 tokens right here, right? Because he's at war with player 2 and player 3. So the way that the turn tokens work is that if he has this number right here, this false true thing here, all it means is that if it's true, then he can spend that token against whatever player this is. So right now he can't spend any token because they're both false. It means that they're both gone. The slot is still there because he's still at war with these guys, but he can't spend them because it's not his turn. It's false, right? So right now whose turn is it? It's player this guy because he has a token to spend against against player 1, and this guy player 2 has a token to spend against player 1. So player 1 can't move yet until one or both of these guys, player 2 and player 3, spend their token against him. So let's do that. So this is player 3. He's going to spend player 1's token to move, and so you see, so player 3 just spent his token, and now player 1 can move because this token is now usable. So let's make player 2 spend his token as well. So now it becomes false because he's just spent that token, and now player 1 has both of these tokens, so he can make 2 moves now, right? So he can make that move, and he can make this move. So yeah, that's the token. Okay, so let's go back and fix these bugs. I wanna make the UI a little prettier so it's clear. Yeah. Okay, let's. Okay, so let's see why this guy didn't have his turn tokens activated. We're gonna refresh everything. So when you first start out and you move, there's no turn tokens yet because you're not in contact with them. But as soon as you move into the territory, so if you move in, then it creates a token for you. So this guy just moved here. Yeah, so the way I coded it is that if you just move into somebody else's territory within, I think, 6 cells of their pieces, then you have a token created for you, and it worked like that here. But let me see why I didn't create one for. Yeah, so see, you move and then it creates. So let's see this guy here. Invalid move. What in the world? So it created a token for player 3 in player 1's list. So player 3 is right there. And player 1 now has 2 turns they can move. But it's not making one for player 3. I think it's gonna make one for him as soon as okay. So it'll create a token for player 3 as soon as player 1 uses his token against him. Not sure if that's the behavior we want. Do we want him to? Yeah, you know what? We should make it so that as soon as you go into somebody's territory, it creates a token for you and for the enemy. Okay, so we gotta do it. Update turns. Not sure we need these guys anymore. But we don't actually need this or this because we're rendering it every time. Yeah, I think we can get rid of this. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Whoops. What just happened there? Let's double check that it's still false. Yep, okay, still working. Let me commit this and then we'll basic help 2. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is create a token for self and the other player at the same time, because right now it's only creating the token for the other player and not this guy. Okay, so let's see, game, I think it's in game, turn, update, turn, okay, so find new turn tokens, and then this is where we gotta do it. So what this function does is it'll whenever somebody makes a move, somebody is gonna look around the vicinity and see if it's come into contact with any new player, right? So for example, this guy, when we just booted him up, he's not in contact, he's not in combat with anyone. But when he moves around, he's gonna come into contact with this guy. So we want to create a token there. So find new turn tokens. Yeah, so the range is 6. If you're moving into their range, they get a turn token, but you don't get one once they use by update turn tokens. Yeah, this is not the behavior we want to do. Change this update turn tokens. So player does not post.
Có thịt bò rồi con muốn ăn không?
Hả?
Có thịt bò kho này.
Gì?
Có thịt bò kho.
Oh, ok.
Nhưng mà nếu mà con muốn ngon nữa thì chờ 10-15 phút mẹ luộc bún.
Ok.
Nha.
Có bánh mì.
Bánh mì mà còn ổ mà hơi cũ con muốn ăn không? Dạ, chờ 15 phút nha. 15 phút thì xuống ăn.
Okay. Yep. Sorry. Okay. So turn tokens. Oh, turn. Yeah. Okay. We don't need to change this guy. So find new tokens. So this is where we found a new enemy. So in addition to passing the token to him, we also want to create a token for ourselves. To add live false token. Yeah. Yeah. So I already have a note here too that. So let me do. Let me check if I have some similar function that did something like that. Update turn tokens. Update. So update turn tokens is if player turn tokens index. So what does update turn tokens really do? So it's updating our position when we move. So it tries to find the player object and it updates the turn token and it finds the new turn token. So this guy is all it does is it just increments the turn index. So the turn index is this guy. So we have a list right here. At any moment in time, we have an index of which token is active. So for example, if the turn index is here, but we don't have a token to spend, that means we can't move. And the reason for that is if we didn't have that and we just let people move as soon as they have a true turn token, then people can start cheating, right? So for example, two people can team up against somebody else by, well, let's say player 2 and player 3 can team up against player 1 by just passing a token between them. So for example, like this. Actually, it's easier to make it look like player. Okay, so this is player 1, player 2, and player 3. And so let's say player 1 and player 3 are teaming up against. What am I programming? I'm making a chess game, multiplayer chess game for the web. So let's say player 3 and player 1 decide to team up against player 2, right? So if we didn't have an index, I think I have to explain it from the very back. Okay, so the original implementation of the turn tokens is that you just have a simple queue. So if you move against a player, then you push your token onto his queue, and then he can spend that token, and it will go back onto your queue, right? So people can actually abuse that system by just by teaming up with one another and attacking a third guy by passing their token back and forth, right? So player 1 can spend player 3's token against player 2, and then that token gets passed back to player 3, and then player 3 can spend that token against player 2 and pass it back to player 1, and then meanwhile player 2 is still thinking about what to do, player 1 and player 3 are passing their token back and forth, and they can make an infinite number of moves against player 2. So that's why we need to limit the number of moves that can pass between players. The way we do that is we implement an index. So it's not just an unordered queue anymore. You're not allowed to pass your token back and forth willy-nilly. But you can only use a token if the token is alive. That's this thing here, true, false. If your token is alive and your index is there. So let's say your turn index is right here, player 1. This is player 1. So if his active index is here, but he doesn't have a token to spend, he can't move, right? He can't move. So unless player 2 makes a move, so player 2 over here, unless player 2 makes a move, so let's say player 2 moves right now, right? So right now his active index, player 1's active index is still here, and it's true that he has a token to spend now, so he can make a move. So he can use this this token to against player 2. So now he's what just happened? Oh, sorry, his active index was down here. Yeah, I didn't code the UI to highlight. We should do that next. So his active index was here. So well, it was just here, but now we've already made that move. So now it's slide back to the front here. It loops back, so it goes in order. So now it's his active index is here, and he can spend this move now because his token is true. It's alive, and his active index is here. So we can spend that token, this token, against player 2. See? So now it's false. Now his active index goes down here to player 3, but he can't make any move here because he doesn't have a token here because it's false. So he can only move when player 3 makes his move. So player 3 is gonna make his move like this, and so now now player 1 can spend it because his active index is here and his token is live, right? So now he can spend this token like so. Actually, he should spend it against player 3, right? He just spend it like that. So now his active index is here, but he can't spend a token because he doesn't have a token here. So he can only make a move if player 2 spends his token, right? So let's say he does that. So now his active index is here, and now he can spend that token. So it's kind of like that. I'm gonna make it highlight so that it's obvious where your index is. But, okay. Anyway, so where were we? Update turn tokens. Okay, so we can. So the only thing that update turn tokens does is yeah. So I was in the middle of explaining that. So the only thing that update turn tokens does is it will when you make a move, it will use that token and it will increment the index to the next one. And then and if you're at the end of a list, it goes back to the beginning. So that's the only thing it does, and it also passes the token to the enemy. So we need to write a new function to do update modifier. So what we need to do is create a token for somebody, for ourselves and for the enemy. So for the enemy is already here. We need to add a token for the enemy to our list, and add enemy token. Let's just call it enemy token. Player new enemy dot id. Okay, so so let's say, what do we have to do here? Player, we have to add, so let's see where, player.js. So what we need to do is we need to add this guy, add the new enemy to this list right here. Okay, seems simple. Player ID, player name, live, false. So I think we can add a, just do this. And then save. Let's not make this enemy. So where did we get any new enemy from? Yeah, okay. So player, actually, okay. So player is an actual player. So we want to add the enemy here, and enemy name, and life is should be false because we just moved into the enemy's territory, and we don't want to have an extra turn for ourselves. So I think that's it. Okay, what possible bugs can go wrong here? If we, so here we just added a. Why does this one take an ID? What the hell? What is going on here? That's token to enemy. So this one takes an enemy ID. I think we used it token to enemy dot player. Oh, because over here this guy doesn't have a full player object. It only has an enemy underscore a dot player. Yeah. Okay. So add new enemy token. So what can go wrong here? We pass a token to the enemy. So now he has an actual turn against us. At the same time, we also add a new token for ourselves. So I'm thinking about race conditions here. If this guy, if the enemy has a turn and he spends it against us, and he spends it before we actually created this. I mean, this should be fast, right? This should be a lot faster than if the enemy, like a human player, spends his token before we create anything here. Yeah, I think it worked. Okay. So let's refresh the. Let's remove everything, and so the way we're gonna test this is we'll create a player 1, and we'll create player 2, and then we'll create player 3. Okay. Oh, actually, we should. How's this? So we should, if we move into this guy's territory, we should get both a token for ourselves and for the other guy as well. Yep. Oh, look at that. Yeah, so it created a token for both players. That's why it's showing up here. So now let's move here. Yeah, it's updating. Everything's good. So player 1 has a token belonging to player 2. Good. So let's create a new. Let's double check down here in the. Yep, it's everything there. So right now we're gonna register a third player, and so as soon as he moves down onto player 1, I gotta refresh because I didn't write the code to update everybody when somebody spawns right next to them. So let's say player 3 moves down onto player 1. It should create a token for both of them, and it should show up like there. There we go. What the hell? Okay, let's see what's going on here. User 2, true. So this is updating correctly, but this guy is not updating correctly. This guy's not updating right. User 2 false, user 1 false, user 2 false, user 1 false. Why is that? So he's in range of this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So player 3 is in range of both of these guys. But why is it updating 4 times? What the fuck? Yeah, it's updating. It's creating 4 tokens for him. User 1 false, user 2. Is it because so it's passing the token right because these guys only have 2, and this guy only has 2 as well. Something's going on here. Add new enemy to token. Find new turn tokens. It's gonna find it's gonna look for pieces in range. So the range is 6. So we know that they're in there. The only guy from So when we make a move here, it's gonna look through this box. So it includes these guys, all of these guys, in the pieces. For bar J equals 0. J less than player dot turn tokens. So player return tokens has 0 length. So found is false for O. User 2, user 1, user 2, user 1. So index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So player return tokens is empty because we just booted them up. So throughout this whole loop, this is not going to run. Found is false. Found is always going to be false. And new enemy ID is not equal to player.id. So this is but why is it making 2 though? Use a 2. No enemies. Okay. let's print this out and see how many times is printing the enemy. New enemy. What is this called? Find new turn tokens. Oops. Okay, 2 tokens. Yep. Find new turn tokens. Name user 2. Find new turn tokens. User 1. That's odd. It's doing it twice. Oh, that's right. It's because it's it's printing every player in the area, including itself. So let's try and create a third player. Oh, nice. We went to the exact same position as last time. Okay, so let's make sure that we move somewhere that's gonna let's move this guy up here. I want to move it somewhere so that it's gonna land in the territory of both of these players. So somewhere here, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here. Let's make sure. Okay. What the? User 3, user 3. Oh, it's just printing itself. Okay, so right here, I'm gonna see. Okay, so it's doing it twice again. So okay, so it's finding the turn token for user 2, for user 3, and user 1. So it's finding the right number of this. Everything up here is working right, except it's creating more than 1 tokens. If not found, pass token to enemy. Pass token to so the enemy is gonna enemy hasn't been in range. Okay. So the only thing it updates is there. Add new enemy to tokens. This doesn't make any sense. Let's see. How many times is this thing getting called? Okay. So add new enemy token. What in the hell? Add new enemy token. So it's only adding user 3 and user 2. Sorry, adding user 2 to user 3. And here's adding user add new enemy token user 3 to no one. To that doesn't make any sense. What the hell? This is weird. It's doing the right thing here. It's adding the right number of add new enemy token, but there's no this is weird. It's happening the same thing here. So user 2, user 1, user 2, user 1. This is horrible. It's 4. So user 4 is adding user 2. Okay. And it's also adding user what the fuck? User 4. So at this point, user 4 has no turn tokens. And then it adds user 2. And we go down here, and the log is freaking weird. What the hell? Okay. So we're adding user 5 is adding user 2 and user 3. Turn token is nothing. Turn tokens is user 2. Man, this add new turn tokens. See right here, turn tokens is empty, which is right because it's only it's just booted up, and now we're adding user 2, and then we try and add user 3, and here is user 2. So why is it adding it twice? What the fuck? Doesn't make any sense. This is crazy. How's this? Yeah. Oh, somebody look at this. Somebody's making players use the add to set update. Could it be because we're pushing it manually and then we're trying to save it? Push. Let's try and do it using the push thing instead of pushing it to the array directly and then save. Because I don't know why this is making it appearing twice. Enemy token. Because we can see that it's only calling this function once per enemy, but for some reason it's adding oh, look at this, it's adding sorry, oh man, I hate this I do not like this. 100. See, player 5 is always pushing it twice. I think that is pushing user 2 and then user 3 and then user 2 again. And I can't figure out why. So let's try and push it with yep, okay. So player mongoose update is the one we want. Piece cell update. Push turn tokens, I think. And we want to push this guy. So I think that's array of objects. Array push. No, we just want to push it once. Okay. Push, and then if error, we'll print out the error. And yep, I think that'll work. Let's clear the database and have a fresh game. A register. Player 2 register. Okay, good. So far so good. Okay, we gotta move this guy so that it lines up. We wanted to enter both enemies' territories at the same time. And okay, yeah. So see, so it's adding it just once. And now we have a bug. Cell is null. Cell is null. Okay, so this bug is good. I don't know why it does that. See, look, there, it should be the same. See, look, we're just updating the player, and then we're pushing the new object to the turn tokens, and here we're doing the exact same thing. Right there. That doesn't work. And I have no idea why. Nope. This updates duplicates this create to gotta duplicates for some reason. Do not use. Okay, so so that bug is fixed. So let's see what's going on over here. Cell is null. Player line 51. Data piece, update piece, new position data. So oh, I know what it is. It's because we didn't refresh this guy, so this guy doesn't see the third player. It doesn't see it on the map. We're gonna have to do something about that. See, player 3 is not on here, but if I refresh, it'll appear. See that? So it complained because this piece isn't there for the client to render, to find and render. Okay, so and it was horrible. Git add enemy token to self. And finding new enemies. Okay. Okay, so let's now render. Oh, we gotta refresh this guy too. Yeah, this guy, both of these guys didn't have the. Okay. So let's try and have a game. Right, so the next thing we want to do is just highlight the active token. So let's try and move the pieces around and get a feeling for the game. So where are we? This guy can't move. Oh, it's because player 2 now has both of these tokens. Right, there are 3 players, so it creates a token for each pair. So there are 3 pairs of tokens, and each player has 2 tokens from the other guy. So player 2 right now has both of these tokens. So yeah, so his active index now just jumped from 0 to 1. So now he can make another move using this token. and let's move that over here. So, and then the token that he spent went over to player 1. Now player 1 has 2 tokens that he can spend. So we can spend that, and now his active index is over here. So, and then this guy can move, I think, right? Okay, so the part from before, where I mentioned that people, if we didn't have the index, people can cheat, but they can't do it right now anymore because we have that index, active index, right? So if we try and move, so let's say if player 1 and player 2 over here decides to team up against player 3, they can just spend all of their moves moving over to attack player 3, but they can't right now, right? Because see, player 1 can't move and player 2 can't move because this guy, player 3, has both of their tokens, and even though player 2 right now, see, player 2 has a token from player 1, he can't move because his active index is over here. So he needs player 3 to move before his active index can go over here so that player 1 can move. Right? See? Player 1 can't move and against player 3, and player 2 can't move against anywhere. Right? So player 3 is now free to make 2 moves. And the reason we want this is because we want the game to be fair for everybody. So that even if you're attacked by 2 or 3 people, you can still fight them off if you're good enough of a player. And if you have a big enough army, you can fight people off. Even though there are more people teaming up against you. It only depends on how good you are. Right. Okay, so let's do the highlighting to highlight the active index. So here we're rendering the turns. Init turns. Player is the U. And turn tokens. So we're gonna just have a render turns. Let's make this private so that we can only use it inside here. And we should make this take the whole player because we want to be able to use we want to use the index as well. And turn index, player.turn index. Is that right? Turn index and turn tokens. Yeah. So so what we're going to do when the with the turn index is just add a CSS element class. So right here, and we'll just add a active turn. We'll check if I is equal to turn index, and if it is equal, we'll actually, let's make it clean. If I is equal to turn index, then we'll set active turn equals to active turn. Otherwise, active turn equals empty string, and then here we'll just add that. So that will create a new class, and what we'll do is just add a hot turns, and active turn will change the color. Let's say background color equals blue, red. For now, let's just make sure that it works, and then oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, so the active it's kind of ugly. Okay, so the active turn is here and here, here. Okay, so right now we can move because it's true and it's active. Okay, and then we can make another move. Now we can't move because yep. This makes it a lot easier to see if you can move. So right now you can, this guy can move, and he can move another turn. And this guy can move, and he can move another turn. Usually what you want to do during a game is you want to move, you want to use your turn against the person that the token is active on, right? So right now the active token is user 3, so this guy should probably play against user 3. I think he's over here. Oh, sorry, user 3 is over here. Right, so you want to move against this guy, and then your active turn is up here now, but you don't have a token, a live token, so you gotta wait. You're gonna wait until player 2 makes his move. So player 2 is over here, and he wants to. This is player 3, so you want to move against that, right? And now he's gonna move against player 1 over here. So let's say we attack him, like so. So now player 2 just attacked player 1, and his active index is here. So right now we can move against this guy. We don't want to move. We don't want to use this turn against this guy because that's the wrong player. You can't actually see that right now because there's no distinction between player 2 and player 3. But we'll add that later on. So we can move this here. Let's try and make this a little prettier. let's use color code for false and yeah. Instead of saying ready turn, let's use an outline for so instead of printing live true or false, we're gonna say we're gonna make it into a, let's shorten this a little bit. So bar active turn equals otherwise it's an empty string. Bar ready turn equals otherwise it's empty, and we change this into class equals like that. And so if it's ready, it's going to turn yellow, and if it's an active turn, the outline is going to be red. Oh, you know what? We need some way to oh. That's very ugly. But it works. Okay, so yeah, we gotta work on the UI a little bit. Okay. So let's make it green for ready, and default is gray. How do you specify colors again? I think it's just this CSS. I forgot so much CSS stuff because I haven't done it for so long. Colors. Oh, it's okay. What's gray? Color picker. Hood turns. We don't want this. So we have hot turns, and then inside each box we have the turn box. Yeah, this is too. How about that? No, we want the gray for the inside thing. Right, this is the one we want, and we want the padding to be that. And for the outside active turn, we want. Oh, it's also on the turn box. How do we change the borders? I'm using WebGL for the game, and the DOM for the UI for now. For these little things, that's also WebGL. So I think it's going to be a mix of mostly WebGL for the game itself, and then UI, the DOM for the UI. Yeah, because I think it's just easier to make UI elements with DOM stuff, because you can use jQuery and CSS for, you know. I've only just started using WebGL, so I don't know a lot about it to be comfortable using animating like 3D stuff for UI purposes. Color transparent. What? Why are there two colors? Set the color of the four borders. Oh, okay. So I think if you set one, it will be the same color for all the active turn. We want to be Thank you. Yeah, it's a work in progress. What the? I'm getting confused here. Turn box. So by default, it's so ready turn. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, so it's green when it's active, but we just gotta fix the padding bit like this. Turn box. I don't think we need the padding here. Turn box color is player name. Yeah, okay. So player name is by default. Okay, this is what we want. So by default, player name is going to have padding and it's going to have the default background gray. And if the active turn box, I think this is how you specify both of them at the same time. So active turn and turn box is going to be red, have a red background. Then okay, let's add a little padding over here too, so we can make sure that and then if it's ready, dot player box dot player name. If it's ready, it's gonna turn green. I think. Oh, that doesn't look like what we want. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, interesting. So, that looks like something here. What's the color for this guy? Active. Border color. No, we want background color. There we go. Okay. Getting there, yes. Okay, active and okay, so this guy has an active move and he can move there. This guy has 2 moves and yep, and now this guy has 2 moves. Okay. Just gotta work on the this thing. Active turn, make it a little bit thinner, more elegant, I suppose. There we go. Yeah. Eventually we're gonna have to yeah. Oh, set the size of the border. Okay. This guy can't move right now. Yep. And then that, and then this. Move. There's a few more mechanics that I want to do too. So for example, we don't want people to move the same piece twice in a row, because that will make the game really hard to play. But for now, that's good enough, I think. So okay, let's make this 2. Let's change the font too. CSS font family. Times New Roman, Georgia. Is Arial a universal font? Like, I'm not sure if Arial is in everywhere. You can use it in every browser. Global. No. Oh, cool. Just gonna change the colors a little bit so it doesn't look so. I like these really like fruity colors. Not primary. Well, sometimes primary is good. Like these blue. That's really primary. Oh nah, that's not good. Too bright. Whoops. Okay. Huh. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Maybe I'll change the colors like behind the scenes so you guys don't get too bored. But I mean, like, this is when I stream. This is the only time I work on the game, so I don't want to work on it when you're not there. I mean, I could. That's what I did for the first few months. Too. Interesting. Why is the color? Is that the same color? That doesn't look like the same color. Huh. Yeah, I have a Git repo. I'll show you maybe in the next video, so you can like set it up and stuff. I'll also post the link down in the underneath the live stream. So well, I think what I'll do the next video is I'll show you the Git repo and how to set up the game so you can run it. You can run it on your own server or on localhost, and you can try out the game. Once this gets into a playable state, I'll push the game live online somewhere, and then people can start playing and then give feedback to me. User 2, okay. Yeah, we're spending way too much time on this. I'll just do this real quick, and then I'll read that. Damn it. Okay. Okay, good enough. User 2 and user 1. And then we'll change the border one last time, and then we'll finish up. Okay, so I think that's gonna be it for today, maybe. Yep. We've been going for 2.5 hours. Wow. We didn't actually get a lot done. All we did was added some improvement to the turns and then the UI. But at least now people can see what. Now they can see what's up. Like they can actually tell if they have a move. Before it was just like blind. So now this guy can move, and he can make another move, and this guy can move, and he can move again, and now this guy can move, and this guy can move here. Whoop. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll probably stream again tomorrow.